Just talking musicals with you.
Now, there's something that I've always been fascinated by, is your connection with Paris and working in Paris. Because when people talk about theatre, musical theatre especially, you think instantly West End, or you touring, which is phenomenal, or Broadway. You don't really often think of Paris. How did that come about?
Because I did On the Town, ENO.
Yeah.
They took the production and put it in Paris.
Okay, so
that
was
was
your
my
starter.
step in. And I met Jean-Luc, who was the artistic director. And I got on very well with them. And then they called me back to do Singing in the Rain.
So was that at the Marigny or the Châtelet?
No, Châtelet. These were all Châtelets, my first three.
Yeah.
And so that was amazing to be. And Singing in the Rain was such a massive hit. And I began to get to know Jean-Luc really well.
Yeah.
And he's very loyal, very straight down the line, he knows what he wants. And I think he saw my passion and things and said, you perhaps should direct 42nd Street here. And I was like, oh, because it was his last show before he moved. And it was a bigger hit than Singing in the Rain, which was still a big shock to me. So that was wonderful. And so then he asked me to go and work with him at Marigny.
Which is really exciting, isn't it?
Guys and Dolls and Funny Girl, yeah.
Guys and Dolls was cut short in its prime, wasn't it? I had a ticket to go and see that.
We had all the strikes.
Yeah.
And it really killed the business. I mean, it was heartbreaking because the show I thought was fabulous and people in it were fantastic.
I think there were all sorts of demonstrations going on in
all
Paris,
the time, every
weren't there?
weekend.
Yeah.
And there was barricades. You couldn't get down the Champs-Elysees.
What a shame.
But Funny Girl sold out completely.
Yeah.
I love doing that. I didn't expect it to have the reaction it got.
Parisian audiences are different, aren't they?
Yeah. And
They're quite old-fashioned.
But they said they knew Funny Girl. They didn't know Guys and Dolls. Loads of them. Yeah.
Really?
And that was a massive shock to me. So.
See, I don't know how anyone can live their entire life and not know Guys and Dolls. But I've been to the Châtelet just once, and I found it was such a charming theatre.
Yeah.
But the audience, they almost dressed up still to go to the theatre.
They do, yeah.
And I've always loved that about going to the theatre, and suppose in the last however many years that we don't do that in England anymore. So to go to Paris and see very chic Parisians turning up looking very smart, that was quite an eye-opener as well.
And they welcome us. They're so welcoming, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
The crew backstage, they always say, thank you for bringing this show to Paris. And just so lovely, I can't tell you. Everybody's treated very well.
It's wonderful, isn't it? I also saw in a small theatre in Paris a lovely show about Piaf. And it was like going back in time because all the audience were singing along to the songs. I don't reckon you'd get that in London, would you? And I just thought, well, we associate Paris with being so chic and
it's stunning. It's beautiful. I mean, everybody that works there. I mean, we walk home. Walk along.
Yes.
I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I was living right next to Notre Dame, so it was.
Well, someone's
fabulous.
got to do it, haven't they?
Stunning.
Yeah. So, what's next for Paris and Stephen and Mear then?
I don't know. The Marigny's just announced that it's going to open again. So fingers crossed. I mean, I hope they bring Funny Girl back because it was such a big hit there.
Yeah.
I've got a list of things I want to try, but once again, it's what the Parisians know. I think. So I have to judge by Jean-Luc. Fingers crossed. I get to do more. 42nd Street will go back to the Châtelet, and I think Singing in the Rain might again. You never know. So fingers crossed. And I think we might go to Chicago still, but not till later.
Yeah.
I'll be doing it from a wheelchair.
Stop it. The opening of 42nd Street is so lovely, isn't it? Where
gorgeous.
the curtain just partially lifts. You get the tap
gorgeous.
dancing feet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
The whole music is fabulous.
It's just like the film.
Yeah. I did think at one point when I was directing and choreographing, because it's massive, I did think, what on earth made you think you could do both? Thank God we had a long rehearsal period, because it was mammoth. It really was.
So do you get longer rehearsal periods in Paris, do you think?
I think when I'm directing and choreographing, Guys and Dolls we didn't. or Funny Girl.
Didn't you?
But I go in there with a set. I
Yeah.
do pre-production
Yeah.
always before I do a job.
Yeah.
But you know, with those massive numbers, we had done pre-production on it. I went to colleges and used the kids and used them as their bodies.
Oh, clever.
I do that all the time with shows.
And they'll love
And
having
then,
you
and then
in.
I get to see, and some of them have ended up being in the shows.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of choreographers are going to do that now, and it just helps you.
Very clever. And it's a wonderful moment for them, isn't it?
Yeah, they can put it on a CD, can't they?
Yes.
Did the workshop.
Workshop with Stephen Mear. Amazing. Now, I've got here, there's nothing frightening, this long list of shows that you've done throughout your life. I mean, it's 2-3 pages. Oh no, this isn't throughout your life, this is just generally. And there are so many beautiful, amazing shows. Acorn Antiques has just come straight out at my eyes. And Funny Girl, Witches of Eastwick, Stepping Out, I love Stepping Out, that was at West Yorkshire Playhouse.
Yeah.
Going back to, I'm going back to Soul Train here, but Little Night Music with Julia Mackenzie.
Yeah, in Japan.
Incredible. Is there anything you haven't done?
Oh yeah, I have a wish list.
Have you got a bucket list?
Yeah.
Still?
I'm like 3/4 of the way through it, I'd say.
Wow.
I'd like to do things like Baby, Life After High School, Kiss of the Spider Woman,
Yeah.
Grand Hotel.
Kiss of the Spider Woman, that was a Gareth Valentine one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You did that.
And I got offered swing on it in second class.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but I didn't take it because I got something else. I can't remember what it was. But an amazing show. I love also, I like shows with stories. Like my first directing show was She Loves Me, because I knew it so well. I just thought,
Yeah.
Chichester said you have to do direct. And so I thought, well, that's the show I know backwards, and no one can catch me out.
And you were associated with Chichester for about, what, 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years, 7 8 years, yeah. Beautiful, amazing place. And we had shows go to the West End, like Pyjama Game, Kiss Me Kate. You know, I was so lucky.
It's funny, Chichester suddenly got a reputation for putting on great shows, and I bet that was just about when Stephen Mear turned up. It must be, because I grew up near Chichester, and so it now has this really wonderful reputation, doesn't it, Chichester?
Oh, I mean, it's amazing.
And it is a lovely space, so to speak, isn't it, to put a show on in. But it wasn't always, Chichester.
No.
People didn't speak in hushed, revered tones about it, but they do now. And it's funny, isn't it? That's
But
when
I
you
think-
started to work there.
And also Jonathan Church.
Yes.
I think it changed then, with Jonathan and Alan. But I worked there before. I did, what did I do there before? I think I did Putting It Together, Just So,
Yeah.
before Jonathan took over.
Yeah.
So, and I loved it then. But then it turned into something, I don't know, just became massive. And I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm still on the bucket list. So you're doing Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Yeah. Grand Hotel.
Oh, yes.
Baby, Life After High School. I'd love to do Pirates of Penzance. I know that's weird.
Well, you see,
It's just such a funny show. if
Well,
it's
that's
done
operetta,
right.
isn't it? And you've done opera at the Met,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
goodness sake, haven't you? That was Fledermaus,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
And I did Don Giovanni at the Royal Opera House.
Oh, well, there's
Prince
nothing
Edward.
stopping you. So Pirates of Penzance would be brilliant.
Oh, it's perfect for me. I mean, I just think it's very funny, and it's just right up my streets. Yes, I saw that. That was one of the early shows with Tim Curry, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, you've got to put this, you've got to get this into action, so
I
you've still
know.
got plenty to
Yeah,
do
there's
there.
loads of shows I want to do still, but they're the main ones that I'd love to get my hands on.
Yeah, oh, how exciting. Where am I in my list? Where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? You've done so much in all the years that you've been working as a dancer, choreographer, director. What is it? When do you get to the point where you think, I've arrived?
I don't know. I think I'm always so critical about everything I do still. But I love what I do so much. And when I stop loving it, I'll vanish. But no, I'm going to keep going and going.
Yeah.
I've got shows to do still.
Yes.
So, and also I'd like to do a new show. I'd like to, I don't just do the showbiz ones. People relate that. I've done pop videos, I've done all sorts
Yes.
of TV shows. But, like I said, there's amazing directors and choreographers, and they just make me want to be better because they're so good. And there's loads of shows I want to do, and I'm going to keep going until I think they carry me off.
And this is the thing about doing something you absolutely love, isn't it? There's no such word as retire. That's crazy.
Well, I said to Mark when we went into lockdown, this is retiring. Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. I love what I do. I'm passionate. I love getting people work. I love getting other choreographers and directors work.
Yeah.
I just love this industry.
It's lovely. I always love thinking about a new project and thinking, I'll do that. And you never ever stop thinking about it.
No, that's the nice thing about work. When I worked at Chichester, I could get new choreographers in or new, mention directors or lighting. It's just wonderful. I love getting good people work, good people.
Well, I'm really pleased. So you're going to just keep going. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And next up is, I like this one. A sort of, who are your dance heroes of yesteryear? And if you could get in a time machine and go back in time, who is it that you would like to meet the most?
Oh, it's a hard one because it's about a few. I mean, of course, it would be Anne Miller because I got to meet her. Anyway.
I didn't know that. You haven't told me that before. That you met Anne Miller.
I was in Follies with Arthur Kitt.
Yes, because she was in Follies, wasn't she?
She sent Arthur Kitt a message at the stage door, and me being the pushy Corrine, said, can I take it up to Arthur? Because I'd heard it was from Anne Miller. Gave it to her, and she said, I didn't know you liked Anne Miller, just very funny. And she used to take the boys out, Arthur did. We used to go to the gym with her, take turns. And she said, meet me next week at the Savoy, dress nice, we'll go for something to drink, then we'll go to the gym. In the Savoy, and down come Anne Miller to join us for lunch. She'd organised it. Arthur Kitt did that for me, and I was rubbish. I could hardly string two words together.
You just sat and
she was doing
smiled.
Sugar Babies at the time.
Yeah.
And I'd seen that about 6 times.
But she had a tremendous career, didn't she? She started when I mean, obviously you're the expert on Anne Miller, but she started when she was 13.
Yeah, and lied.
In Hollywood, and lied about her age. She said she was 18.
Yeah, I know. Amazing that they got away with it.
Yes.
I mean,
first fake ID.
A young girl, that's that beautiful and can do that, but I mean, it will work fine for her.
And but the way that she just went through the studio system as well, and she was, of course, there's a link with you. She was in On the Town, wasn't she?
Yeah, and Kiss Me Kate. So
so that must have been lovely to have that link in your head.
Lovely, especially those two shows. Because I always think of her. But I'd also love to meet Jack Cole if I could go back, because his choreography, in my eyes, was quite mind blowing.
And he was one of those choreographers who didn't care, did he, so to speak? He just was passionate. It was jazzy.
You see where Fosse got his inspiration from, and
yes,
mathematics and all of them. I think he was one of the first, and Jerome Robbins, of course.
Because he was just pushing the barrier all the time, wasn't he?
All the time.
I know you've talked about Jack Cole before.
I just love his work.
Yeah.
And Hermes Pan, that's another one I adore.
Now, Hermes Pan, this is Lesley's head of trivia, he took over on the film of On the Town from Robert Alton.
Yeah.
Because Robert Alton passed over, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he had choreographed the original show on Broadway, and he was in the middle of working on the film.
It's funny, isn't it, how some of them that did it on Broadway don't get to do the film.
And he got to do the film, but didn't finish it. But Hermes Pan. And Hermes Pan was another incredible person, wasn't he?
I mean, they were just fantastic. They were pioneers. They were just fantastic at what they did, how they worked the camera.
Yeah.
Busby Berkeley, I mean, look what he did. Patterns, that is patterns if you...
Totally.
Yeah.
He could be quite scary though, couldn't he?
Yeah, I think they all could.
Yeah.
I think they were all tough. And I think to be in this business, you have to know what you want, don't get me wrong. But, there are ways of doing things nowadays. I know I can get lots out of people in a rehearsal room without scaring them to death.
Yeah, and nobody goes into a rehearsal room wanting an easy time of it, do they? You want to do your best, because otherwise when you get on stage, you're going to let
But I've worked with choreographers that have screamed at you and yelled, and I just remember thinking, that's not what I'm going to do. Unless I have to.
Yes.
Unless I'm pushed. But I
can't imagine you ever doing that.
I'm not scared of any confrontation. if I don't agree with it, if I'm really annoyed.
I
Not
just
at all.
feel like that you might just go very quiet and walk out of the room.
You should ask some of the people that work for me. No, I don't shout, but I don't put up with nonsense if I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I mean, years ago, I'd
Quite
just
right,
nod
though.
my head and smile, and now I'm like, behaviour, we're here, we're doing
Work.
something that we all love.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You don't need to be like that.
And then you draw the best out of people, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually do get to work with the best people,
Yeah.
I think. And you'll find the best ones are the least trickiest.
Yes. The higher you go, the easier it
the better
gets.
they are.
That's what people say, isn't it?
Less tricky.
Now, you've sort of sidestepped Anne Miller. Although you've met her,
Yeah.
what time would you go back to meet her?
I think I'd like to go the MGM time. And, all the films, when she was doing all the films.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I should have been born then, really. But I would just love
That
to
was
be
your
there.
classic tap dancing era, wasn't it?
And Eleanor Powell and
Yeah.
all those ridiculous tap dancers. And
Is it true that Anne Miller was reputed to be able to do 500
Yeah.
taps
a minute.
a minute?
Yeah.
But she had to put the taps in after when they filmed
Yeah,
it.
she didn't like doing that.
That'd be exhausting,
She always
wouldn't it?
wanted to do it live, but obviously sometimes you couldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was amazing.
500 taps a minute.
Me and my friend used to slow her routines down, so I could try and do it. But no, we got it, but nowhere near as fast as what she did it.
Who did she train with? Because she was
I don't think
only
she did.
30.
I think it's like a dance school. I think it's dance
Yeah.
school, and then learned her training after that.
Because it's fascinating, isn't it? I was reading about Hermes Pan, and I can't really, I haven't looked that deeply, admittedly, but he just seemed to start.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure they did. They'd have had to have some idea, but not. The best dancers don't make the best choreographers.
No, because you've got to know, haven't you?
I mean, Peter Darling, I'm his biggest fan. I don't think he was an actor that danced,
Yeah.
but he's a genius. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Peter Darling.
But the person you go back would be, right, so it would be in 1940s,
Yeah.
Anne Miller.
Yeah, definitely. Just love to be there on those sets and in those studios. I mean, I'm sure it was hard, and I'm
Yeah.
sure people were quite mean, I think, in those days,
Yes, because you had the studio system, and
Yep.
you did what you were told.
You don't mess the studio up, do you? You don't
No.
work.
No. Oh, Stephen, this has been terrific today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I'm so pleased. I mean, this is our third interview, I think, we've ever done, isn't it?
think so,
and
yeah.
just so fantastic. And I've always wanted to talk to you about the broad scope of your career. And this has been a fantastic chance to do this in the Stephen Mear studio at the
How
Brighton
funny is
Academy.
that?
It's wonderful. And thank you so much for joining me again on Just Talking Musicals today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
Just talking musicals with you.